Hi, welcome to GMST Solutions Private Limited Digital Learning. So today topic we are implementing Spring Boot with REST API CODE operations. CODE in the sense create operation, read operation, update operation, delete operation. So Spring Boot is a framework. So if you want to understand that, so before going to our video, please watch the previous video, sir. At least you have the basic knowledge on the Spring Boot and basic knowledge on what is the REST API. So types of web services we have. So the REST API, how to provide the service endpoints, how to implement, how to consume the REST API. So REST API is providing the service to the clients. The client can consume the services like we can communicate through HTTP protocols. So get method, post method, put method, delete method. So get by ID, get by name. So as per the requirements. So before going to implement Spring Boot with REST API CODE operations, what are the required softwares we need in our system? So the first we need JDK 8 or 11 and STS tool if you have, otherwise Eclipse also you can use. STS4 I'm using, SpringToolSuite-4. And if you want to test the application using Chrome, or if you have any other testing tool, SOAP UI, these things. So for best option I'm taking the Postman for API testing. So because REST API endpoints, if you want to test that, we need the either front end we can use, or in place of that we have the Postman API testing purpose. Okay. So JDK 8 or 11, STS tool, and Postman. So what type of project we are going to develop? Either Maven project or Gradle project. So the build type, what is the build type? Okay, we can use that. So you can check before starting that application, maybe Maven is working or not in our system. So Maven is working or not, you can check it also. So we have the Maven. Or if you want to use a Gradle also, we can use Gradle. But so most of the people they will follow Maven projects. Then I'm going for the Maven build type. Okay. So these are the basic requirements. So once if you have the JDK 8 or 11 in your system, okay, it will launch Eclipse IDE or STS tool. If you don't have that, unable to open the tool. So I have the JDK 11 in my system. I'm opening the STS tool to implement simple hello world example like CRUD operations, very basic steps, easiest way to implement. Spring Boot, REST API, and CRUD operations. So while opening your STS tool, it will ask the workspace. The workspace, if you want to create any different locations or desktop or any other drives if you have, so there you can browse and create the folder and select that. Otherwise, directly you can give the path and mention the folder name, it will create automatically. So no need to browse also. If you want to create from here only, give the absolute path and folder name, it will create automatically. Okay. So once you select the folder, so where you need to store all the projects, then you can launch it. We can say the workspace. So you can say the workspace. Okay, select a directory as workspace. Just launch it. Click on launch. So after opening the STS tool, so just you can go for the file. So that I'm giving. So in my workspace, I have only one project as of now. So this one, previous video, we have created a Spring Boot MVC application using JSPs. Okay, so how to implement these things, please watch the previous video. And now we are implementing the Spring Boot with REST API CRUD operations. The same CRUD operations we can implement H2 database, MySQL database, Oracle database. As of now, I'm taking here Spring Boot REST API with the collections. So for learning purpose, it is easy way to implement. So later on, we can replace with the collection with any other databases. So, yeah, fine. So go for the file, new, Spring Starter project, select. So here you need to check the service URL link is working or not. If the service URL link is not working, so we cannot create the project using the STS tool. So it is a source initializer. From there only we can create our projects and dependencies, everything. Please check it. Okay? So before starting, for your reference, I'm removing the URL link. Once you remove the URL link, there is no projects also. It's unable to create. So you need to check that URL link is working or not. It is working, then you can create the project. So now I'm taking the project name is a Spring REST API, Spring Boot REST API, CRUD operations. Okay, CRUD operations. Spring Boot REST API, CRUD operations. So you can take the name also, project name, or you can take just only Spring REST API CRUD example. Spring Boot REST API CRUD example. So what is the type of the project we're getting? The build type. So the build type is a Maven, or if you want to go for the Gradle also you can take. So both are finally providing the what type of jar or var we need to create. So like that we can create. Okay. So the type of the build is Maven build type. I'm taking Maven project. So what is the packaging? So just I'm creating the basic Spring Boot with REST API. There is no view pages. So I'm taking the Java archive. Okay, jar file in a Java archive. So what is the Java version 11? And what is the language we are using for implementing our project? Java one we are using. If you want to change other languages, you can select Kotlin, Groovy. So we are using the Java one. So once you have the basic setup, then what is the package name and what is the project name we given? The same name will come to the artifact ID, and the group ID is a package name. The same package name I'm taking here also. So you can take as per your requirement. No issue on this. So any type you can take. So next go for the next window here. If you have the default 3 version, please change to the 2.7.15 I'm taking. So why I'm using the Spring Boot 2 means, so maybe your system unable to support your JDK, so there is a exception at runtime while running the application, so unable to find your class loaders, something you will get errors. So for avoiding the type of issues, for learning purpose, go for the so basic things. So once you have the confidence on your skills, then you can go for the latest technology also. Once you know the knowledge on this Spring Boot and REST API. So if you want to implement the Spring Boot with REST API, we need the Spring Starter Web. So just if you type the web here, so inside the web you can say the Spring Web. Select the Spring Web. So that's enough for this project actually. So using the Spring Web, what we can implement, you can see. So build web application including RESTful applications using Spring MVC. Suppose a Tomcat as the default embedded container. So no need to add your any external servers. Okay. So just select the Spring Starter Web, and another one we need Dev Tools. Spring Boot Dev Tools. So use of the Spring Boot Dev Tools is nothing but, so any changes in our application, it will reload application automatically and it will provide the updated features. Means it will restart the application automatically. So you can see the provides past application restarts, no need to restart manually. And the live reload is nothing but, so what are the changes we are doing? It will update automatically building operations. It will do it. Okay. So the configurations for fast performance and enhanced development for experiences very fast. Select the dev tools and starter web. This two is enough for this project. Okay, so just click on finish. So very simple if you follow the step by step. So the Spring Boot REST API code example project is created. It is taking the importing started contents and build documents, everything. It will take the 100%. So once you got the 100%, so building, then you can explore this project. So if you just click on the button, it will be show the what are the subfolders contains inside that project. So you can say the src main java for writing the Java code, src main resources. If you have any configuration files, you can keep inside the src main resources, and src test Java. Okay, src test Java. So if you want to implement test cases for your business logic, we can write inside the test Java. And what are the dependencies we added? It will be so downloaded by default. So what is the Java version we taken? 11, Java 11. So the dependencies you can check it one XML file. Other than this dependency, if you want, you can add using the external. We have the MVN repository, so from there we can copy paste what are the dependencies you need, so as per your requirement inside this. Okay, as for this project setup, this two is enough. Okay, let's start the coding using the basic example model class and different. So where we need to write our Java code. So inside our project, src main Java folder, src main Java folder. By default, you will get main method class. So already I have explained about the main method class multiple times. Please watch the previous videos. What is Spring Boot application annotation? So where to start the application actually, what is the base package scanning? So inside that we have the three annotations like enable auto configuration and component scan, Spring Boot configuration. So this annotations combination is nothing but Spring Boot application annotation. So once again I'm repeating, component scan is nothing but what are the base package we created for our project, it will scan from there. Enable auto configuration will take care about the MVC annotation driven HTTP operations like web MVC environment. So handler mappings where we have the controller annotation and where we have the request mapping. So it will enable by default using the enable auto configuration with the help of the dispatcher servlet. Tomcat will start. At Spring Boot configuration, nothing but if you have any bean creations, so by default bean creation installations, it will take care using the Spring Boot configuration annotation. So bean creation for Spring Boot configuration. So web environment taking care of the enable auto configuration and component scan for the base packages. So what is the base package we mentioned? Okay, in our pub.xml file. So once we start the main method class, it will run our application. From here, what are the services you have, what is the port number, if you want to change your own port number, how to change, these are things I will give now. Okay, fine. So start simple coding using the Java Pozo classes, and for that service layer, for that controller layer. Okay, so here I'm taking simple one package, model package. So take simple model package, a new class. You can take employee management, code operations, student management, customer management, anything you can take it. So you guys, so very well knows employee. Okay, class employee dot model. So that is I'm taking the model is a package name. com.test dot is a base package, model is a sub package we're getting again. Okay, so inside the model package we have the employee class. Employee class. So inside the employee class, what are the parameters you need as per your requirement? Anything you can take, even 5, 10, 20, 50, what are things you want parameters, the fields you can take. For just learning purpose I'm taking here. Okay, so three properties I'm taking: private integer id, private string name, private string. If you want to mention company name, you can mention company, that's it, or city or something. Employee id, employee name, employee company. So for this, if you want to create the setters and getters, if you want to type, you can type. So that is also best practice. Or if you want to go for the time saving process, we have the facility using the Eclipse or SpringToolSuite. Just right click on this Pozo class. You can search for the source. Inside the source, if you go for the generate getters and setters, you can generate it. Okay, so you can generate the setters and getters. And if you want to create the constructors using the Eclipse only, we can create the Eclipse or STS tool. So constructor also, public employee constructor I am taking. In Spring Boot, you have to remember in Spring Framework, enter Spring Framework. So without default constructor, if you take the argument, the parameters constructor, so while creating the bean, you will get the exception. So mandatory to take the default constructor, and if you want to take the parameters constructor, the Azure choice that is. But if you are mentioning the parameters constructor, before that you need to take the one default constructor, otherwise you will get the runtime error. So I'm creating one more constructor here, that is the parameters constructor. Okay, I'm removing the super keyword, not required. So that's it. So it is Pozo class or bean class or model class, data class, entity class. If you annotate to the entity annotation, if you implement the Hibernate, so different names. So we have the data class. Now we need the id name company from the front end using the postman now. For setting the data and getting the data and update the data, delete the operations, read, these all operations if you want to implement, we need the REST API services. Okay. So before that, where we need to store the data. So as of now, we are not using the any database. Just we are going for the collection framework to achieve CRUD operations. So why I'm taking the collection means, so who are learning the first time to implement the Spring Boot the REST API application without taking any issues or database errors or driver class errors or different issues they will get. At least for getting the CRUD operation services without any exceptions. So it is the best option to take collection to store the data temporary. Okay. So go for the next class, that is the list of employee. I'm taking the collection type. List is nothing but interface. So there we can take the generic type is our employee type. So inside the list object you can add a number of employees. Okay, just I'm taking the class inside the model package only. Employees. So list of employees I'm taking. Finish. So inside the employees, here I'm taking only the list type object creation generic with the employee. So private list employee. List is from the util package, it is interface. Employee emp list. So if you want to initialize the object, you can initialize, or you can go for the setters and getters. By default it is the null actually. So like this also you can declare, like this also it is fine, no issue. Okay. So it is the null by default without initializing the object. So we need to initialize the object using the setters and getters. So just I'm creating the setter, create setter and getter. Okay, just to generate it. So after creating the setters and getters, we need to check the list employee, the employee list type is created or not created. It is null or not. If it is null, you will get the null point exception, unable to store the data. So for avoiding that exception, inside the get employee list method, inside the get method, I'm taking just validation emp list equal to null, equal to null, emp list equal to new URL list. So generic type is employee type. So then we can return the same list of employee object. Okay. So if it is null, create the object. If it is not null, return the same object only. So this is simple checkpoint for your avoiding the null point exception. So very basic. So we have the list type object also. Now we need to add the list type object to our collection. Now we need to add list type object to the collection. Okay. So then if you go for the another layer, so that is service layer new class I'm taking. So directly service layer I'm taking. So package name is the service package dot service employee service class. So if you are using the database, then we need to go for the DO layer, then repository layer, then service layer and controller. So we are not using the database, so that I'm taking the service layer. There I can create the dummy data. So that is static data. So now it is simple Java class. If you want to convert to the DO operations, we have the repository annotation. So data access objects if you want to implement repository. And if you want to make as a service layer also, we can take the same here only. So the service annotation follows internally facet design pattern. Okay, the service facet design pattern. So using that facet design pattern, what we can achieve? So from one location, we can communicate to the different classes and controller. So giving to the service controller, from controller to get accepting the request and communicating to the other classes, DAO, repository, or data classes. Okay, it is a business service facet design pattern internally. And repository is the DO access, data access objects. Okay, it follows the data access object, that repository. So what are the objects we are implementing? It will take care about your data access. There is a create, data update, data delete, okay, data read, DevOps. Okay, done. So this is the required and service layer information. Basic I'm giving. If you go for detail, we have a lot of things. Now, so inside the employee service class, we need the employee subject to add the data and read the data, update the data, delete the data. So here I'm taking the static object for your employees. So why I'm taking the employees is the static means I'm taking the local data for dummy. So because collection without any database. Okay. So employees emp data. So I'm taking equal to new employees. So just I'm creating. Okay. It is static variable. So inside the static block, I'm adding the data to the your list type employee. Generic is the employee. So we have the constructor. With the help of the constructor, first position is integer, string, and string. ID, name, company. So take the data. Emp data dot get employee list. So it will return the employee list. Method is the list type employee, list type object. So dot add method. It is a collection add method. Inside that we need to add employee object. You can see the employee object. So here employee object we have the constructor. So I'm taking the employee constructor. Okay. New employee constructor. Okay. So inside this we need to pass the argument. So the employee is from the model package, import that model package here. So first position is the integer ID, second position is name, so string name. You can give any name, okay. So employee name. You can take something like okay, and company name. You can take any company name. Okay. So ID, name, and employee, company. The same way we need to add for the multiple data to understanding. I'm taking so at least 4 records or 5 records. Get emp list dot add method employee. So the ID is 2. I'm taking another name as any name you can take it. Okay. So any company name. So emp data dot get employee list dot add method. You can take any employee. Okay. So any other company. Okay. So any company can take it. So emp data dot get employee list dot add method new employee. So ID is 4. A name you can take. Okay. So company name, any company name you can take it. Okay. So emp data dot get employee list dot add method new employee 5th record. So name of the employee. Okay. So Nilesh Samrat, like that you can take any name. Okay. So here, so any company name you can take it. So these are the 5 records I have. So these 5 records, if you want to delete, if you want to read, if you want to update, so all the operations we can do. It is a static data, one-time memory allocation. So while loading the class, it will loads, and we will do the operations on this collection data only. So instead of this, we have the any database software, either MySQL, Oracle, MongoDB, Cassandra, and the Spring Boot local database. We have H2 database. So different. So first we understood the flow of application, then just replacing in place of collection to any database. Okay, fine. So next what we have to do, the first operation we are going for the read operation. So read operation means so display all employee records. Okay, read employee. So read employee operation, what I am taking here, public employees is the list of employees, it will return the object. So get all employees. Get all employees. So just you need to return the EMP data object. That's it. You will return the list of employees. So very basic steps. And if you want to create new employee, user defined data. Okay, so it is hard coded. If you want to add your own data, public, so add employee data. Add employee data or employee record you can take. Public void, so for while adding we're not returning anything. So add employee record. Add employee. So for adding the employee, we need the employee object, right? So we need to call employee emp data dot get emp list dot add method. Inside this we need the employee object. So where we can pass that, add employee object, accept the employee data emp obj. We will pass that object to the emp obj. So read employee and create employee. So we have the four CRUD operations, that is a create, read, update, delete. So read and add. Okay, create and read. So add employee data is another, create employee data. In CRUD operations, create employee data. So read employee data. So next we need to implement update and delete employee data. So update employee data. So if you want to update the employee data in collection, we need to iterate over the data, and we have the collection set method. Using the set method where ID is matching, we need to update that. Okay. So public. So if you want to take void, you can take, or we can take any messages. I'm taking the string. Update employee. So we need the employee object here. Okay, emp object. Just I'm taking the emp object, employee emp. So we need to iterate over the collection data. Means we need the for loop for int I equal to 0. It starts from the 0th index. I less than emp data dot get employee list dot size method. So what are the records we have? Index start from the 0. So if it is size 5, so 0 to 4 is the 5 records, like that. Okay. So total length size is the 5 elements. Index start from the 0 to 4 is the 5 records. Okay, 0th index, first index, second index, third index, fourth index. Okay, so then we need to, each and every index is the one employee object. So we need to convert to the employee object first here. Employee eobj equal to emp data dot get employee list dot get of employee each and every index data. So while passing the employee object from the front end, either Postman or any front end you are using, so that ID and the local ID is matching, we need to update that data. Okay. So here I am taking if eobj dot get ID equals of emp dot get ID. So the local object iterating over the data, object ID matching with your user defined ID. So there we need to update the data. So here I am taking emp data dot set method. We have the get employee list dot collection set method. The set method where index is matching, that index we need to pass the employee object that will update to the your existing data. It will change. Okay, modification. If the given id is not available, finally just I'm returning the given id is not available. So it is for the employee update data. The same way, if you go for the delete employee data, so here also we need to iterate about the same data where id is matching. We need to remove, in place of set we need to remove the data. Okay, so take public string delete employee. So we need the int id. Okay, we need the integer or int id we need. Okay, so here for int I equal to 0, I less than emp data dot get employee list dot size method and increment operation. Okay, forward iteration. So again here I'm taking the employee object emp equal to or eobj, you can take any name, equal to emp data dot get employee list dot get method of index, and where id is matching, if eobj dot get id dot equals of the id. What is the id we are passing? So it is matching the id, just remove the matching id data. So that is delete employee record dot remove method, that index you need to pass to remove the data. Now the same way the id is not available, the given id is not available. Okay, so done. Save it. Employee data delete operation, employee data update operation, employee data create operation, employee data read operation. So these are the 4 CRUD operations. The same 4 CRUD operations we need to call with the help of the RestAPI HTTP methods. RestAPI HTTP methods. So exception handling we'll see in the coming videos. So just for understanding purpose, Spring Boot the RestAPI, I'm giving the simple basic examples. Okay, very basic. And so just create the controller layer for controller, employee controller. Okay, just I'm taking the one separate package for controller. So employee controller. So package name is .controller. So it is normal Java class. If you want to convert to the controller layer, so just we have the controller annotation and the REST controller. We are implementing the Spring Boot with REST API. You need to use REST controller annotation. By default, REST controller annotation return statement is the response body. It is JSON format data by default. Okay, to return the data. Now, so what are the operations we have? We need to call the HTTP method. So before that, where we have all the operations, we implemented service layer. So inside the service layer, we have the methods. So take the service layer object. Okay. So private employee service. Okay, employee service, EMP service. Okay. So we need to create the object for the employee service. So how we can implement that? With the help of the auto-void, it will take internally by default. So dependency injection, set a dependency injection, it will create it. So default, the bin scope is a singleton bin scope. Okay, auto-void. And we have the HTTP method to read the data get mapping. So to read the data, get mapping. So I'm taking public employees because we have the employees is the list of employees. Get all employees. Get all employees. So just we need to return employee service dot get all employees. So for reading operation, it is normal Java method. You need to convert to the HTTP method. Get mapping. So we have the value. If you want to specify, otherwise directly you can take the URL link also. So just for clarity purpose, I'm taking the type of data also. Okay. So I'm taking the list EMP, list EMP URL link, and produces what type of data we are producing? Application JSON data. So using the REST API, we have the XML format data, JSON format data, plain text, HTML. So different media type we have. So we are taking the JSON format data, key value pair data, application JSON format. It is for the read operation. Means it will display all the employee data. In CRUD operation, read employee data. Read employee data. And another one, if you want to create the employee, so public, after creating, if you want to return the data also, we can take it. Okay, employees, create employee. Okay, and here actually already we have the data. So 5 records. If you want auto increment ID with the help of collections, we will take that approach also. So here first I'm taking URL link, post mapping. Okay, post mapping. So the value equal to URL link. Okay, so create EMP or EMP create. You can take anything. Okay, EMP create. So here I'm taking the consumes. What type of data we are consuming from the Postman or front end? Application JSON data. Okay, application JSON data. So inside this, what are the data we are passing through request body using the Postman? So we need to use the request body annotation. The request body annotation, so it will consume the metadata format to our object type. We need to convert internally. So what is the object type? Actually here is employee type, EMP. See the request body annotation, you can see the request body annotation is internally it will be take request body HTTP message converter. With the help of the HTTP message converter, we are converting metadata format or employee type data. Okay, so request body. So inside the method body, so what are the data we are passing from the front end? If you want to increment automatically ID, I'm taking the one simple logic. So we have the employees service dot get all employees. So with the help of that, we will get the get employee list object dot size method. Okay, existing data size plus 1. Okay, you will get the integer type data. Now emp dot set id. Okay, id I'm passing. It is auto increment id. Okay, in our logic. Now, so we need to add into the data, means in service layer we have. So for reading get all employees, for creating add employee data, we need to pass the employee object. So call add employee service dot add employee. You need to pass the employee object and return the employees, because here we are taking the employees. After creating, if you want to read the data, so by default it will return the JSON format data. Just I'm taking return employees service dot get all employees after adding updated record. So added data. See, request body is a inbuilt annotation to convert metadata format or object type. Who will take care that converting data to HTTP message converter to resolve the method argument depending on the content type. So whatever content type we are taking request. Okay, so it will convert to the automatically to our poser type. So automatically it will take. It will validate also as per the requirement arguments. Okay, so this is a simple request body story. Get mapping to retrieve the data, post mapping to create the data. Okay, create employee data. And the same way we need to go for the STP method for update method and delete method. So public, so always I'm taking the return statement employees to return the data after doing the operation, either create or delete or update. Okay, so update employee. So here we need the id plus your data. So if you want to get it id, we have the two ways. One is the request param and one is path variable. I'm taking the path variable. So put mapping. So here I'm taking the value equal to, so update emp or emp update, so anything is fine. So and we need the id from the url link. If you take the path variable, if you are not taking path variable, we'll go for the request param. Their question mark with id we need to pass. Okay, so take it is easy. And so the data we are consuming from the request body consumes application json data. Okay, done. So here I'm taking other data path variable. So you can see the path param. Okay, so path variable. So what is the property name? id we have. That id is a converting to integer format. Int or integer format, you can take it. Comma and request body. Request body implied type. Okay, so it is reading the data and taking the your information of what you are passing from the request body from the postman. It will convert to the again employee object. So here the emp dot set id I'm setting. So what is the id you are passing? So this id I'm passing here. Okay, so the id is passing here. Then inside the employee service class we have the update employee service dot update employee. So you need to pass the employee object. After updating, if you want to read the data, okay, so employee service dot get all employees. Okay, done. So it is for update employee data. So the last one is a delete operation. So public employees I'm taking, delete employee. So here we need the id actually. So I take HTTP method delete mapping. So value equal to, so delete emp or emp delete. Okay, emp delete. So after deleting the data, we need to return again back to the, so user. I'm taking the produces application JSON format data. Okay. So here we need to read the data from the URL link. We need the ID, that is path variable. That a path variable. So read the data and convert into your integer format ID. So here you need to call employee service dot update employee delete employee. Sorry. So delete employee. Okay. So the delete mapping, delete employee. And after deleting the data, we need to return all employee records. Okay, so in the same place, if you go for the responsibility, there is a exception handling for the Spring Boot RestAPI protocols. We will see in the coming videos. So these are the business logic what we are going to implement for to provide the endpoint services to the end users. So endpoint delete operation, endpoint update operation, endpoint create Okay, these are the endpoints. Okay, so we can say the HTTP methods. So delete employee data. If you want to implement Swagger documentation, we can implement in place of Postman. We can take the Swagger API also. So anything is fine. So as of now, we are taking for the just for understanding purpose how to implement a Spring Boot with REST API. So this is the logic to achieve CRUD operations using the REST API protocols. And if you want to test this application, okay, so we will go for the Postman. So using that, we can test each and every API, and it is working properly or not working. What is the exceptions? We'll check it once again. And if there is any issues, we'll resolve the errors also. Okay, thank you. So next, see, we need to run main method class. We need to run main method class. So what is the main method class? Spring Boot STP code application. If you run the main method class, automatically it will start the port number is 8080. If you want to change the port number, I will show where you need to change it. Run a Spring Boot app. So Tomcat starts. You can see the Tomcat 8080 port number. Okay, so for basic understanding purpose, I'm taking one simple Chrome URL link. Okay, here I'm checking localhost 8080. Okay, so list emp is our URL link. Just click on list emp. So what are the existed data we have? It will come existed data. Okay, done. And if you want to test the same application, the each and every API, a list employee, create employee, update employee, date employee, we have the Postman. So if you want to go for the Postman plugin to the your Chrome, just type Postman Chrome extension. So the Postman Chrome extension, just click on it. So here you have the extensions, add to Chrome. So you can add to the Chrome and launch the Postman. So otherwise, if you want to download the Postman separate API, you can download the Postman also. Okay. So in my system already I have the Postman. So I'm using the application. Okay, so Postman. So what is the operation we are getting here? We will get in the JSON format, key value pair data. Okay, see. So here, if you want to read the data, get mapping. What is the HTTP method we selected for read the data in our controller layer? So get mapping for the read employee data. The same HTTP method you can select here, get method. And what is the URL link here? List emp. What is the port number? Localhost 8080. So same you can pass here. Localhost 8080. List emp. List emp. Or URL link localhost 8080 list emp. Just click on send button. So 200 OK is a success request. You can see the records. So we have the ID1, ID2, ID3, ID4, ID5. Okay. So now in place of that, if you want to add the new record, we can add with help of the post mapping to create the data post mapping. Okay, see. So select the post mapping. And here what is the URL link? You need to check in your HTTP method emp create. Okay, emp create. Emp create. When you select the Postman, it will enable the body. So there you can select the JSON format data. Okay, JSON format data. Consumes JSON format data. So what are the properties we have in our Pojo class? Employee class, we have the id, name, company. The same properties only you can take: id, name, company. So company is cmp. Okay, so id you can take any id because it is auto increment. So if you get the 1000 it won't take. So there is a 5 record, 5 plus 1 is a 6 record, you will get automatically. Where we are implementing that, inside the post mapping we are taking existing data plus 1. So 5 plus 1, 6 you will get automatically. Okay. And here I'm taking a name, so any name you can take it. Okay, anytime you can take. Okay, any name, Shiva. And the company name you can take TCS. Okay, so it is a simple employee data: id, name, and company. Just if you click on send button, it will create the new data and returning the same response. But it is a request body where we are writing the data or input data. It is a request body. So where we are getting the data, that is the response body in Postman. So request body, we given the data. You can see the 200 OK success, 180 milliseconds. The data coming through metadata format to our post mapping method and consumes the data in the application JSON format. The metadata we are converting to Java format. So who is responsible for convert the data? HTTP message converter. Okay, and so with the help of our Java objects, we can do the operations like if you want update, delete. So what are the operations you want to do? Then set ID. That ID we are passing to the employee data. So the same employee and get all employees, add employee, update employee, where we have in the employee service we have. So employee service you can see. So it is object. Inside the employee class, we have the get all employees to read the data, add employee to create the data. So you can see add employee we are calling inside this and getting the get all employees to read the data again. Okay, so you can check it. So total 6 records. Okay, just now we added the data 6 records. Okay, and if you want to update the data or delete the data, so another operation is the put mapping and delete mapping. So the put mapping I'm taking here. So put mapping. Okay, so what is the URL link for the put mapping? So we need to emp update and pass the ID also. So which ID you need to update? So put method and ID I'm taking 4 or 5, anything you can take. Okay, so you can take so any ID. Okay, 6 I'm taking. So as of now the 6 ID is the Shivan TCS. Okay, so I'm updating to another operation. So another data. So put mapping ID we are passing. That ID will be extract with the help of the path variable. Okay, the path variable and converting to the integer format. Then request body what we are giving the data, it will convert to the your data. Okay, Shiv Prashant. And Infosys or EY company. So any company can take it. Okay. So Prashant. Just if you click on the send button where ID is matching, that ID will be update to the latest data. So you can see. So in place of Shiva, Prashant, and in place of TCS, Infosys updated the data. So how it is updating? What is the URL link data we are passing with the help of the ID extractor with path variable? It will extract the data from the URL link and converting to the the required format, integer, string, or any format, like a double converting. That ID we are adding to our employee object. So where ID is matching, the ID 6 is matching. That data we are calling the update employee method from the service layer. Here we are passing the employee object. That employee object contains the information. So this is information ID 6 with Prashant and Infosys. Where each and every index we are iterating over our existed data. That is the dummy data we created. Inside that it is where the data is matching the ID. So each and every object is the one employee object. That object and given by the front end. So we are comparing the data. So the both the IDs is matching. The both the IDs are matching. Okay. Then with the help of the get employee list at set method is the set is nothing but to update where ID is matching. So we can replace the existing data with our new data. So the index is replacing with the new data. Set operation. So it is update data. The same way where we are calling the employee, that is a remove. Just where ID is matching, it will remove the data. Okay. So it is update operation. Maybe the given ID is not available, you won't get any error. Okay, you can say just click on send. So 200 okay, and there is no ID, it won't take it. Okay, the fine. Next, if you want to delete the data, delete the data. So we're going to delete that. So what is the delete URL link? So we have the delete URL link is the delete emp, and ID you need to pass. ID you need to pass. Any ID you can pass. Delete 7th ID, 6th ID. If ID is available to delete, if not, so the ID is not available. Okay. And so 4 IDs, 5 ID, 6 ID, you can pass it. So we have the 4th ID. You can just click on send. It delete from the list and returning the back to the tornado work. You can see ID 1, 2, 3 is there, 4 deleted, 5, 6 is there. So where ID 4 is matching, it will delete the data. Okay. So done. So this is a delete mapping. So extracting the data with the delete URL link ID and path variable is ID. It's converted to integer format, passing to the delete employee method inside your service layer. Where ID is matching, we're iterating over each and every index. We're removing that data. So these are the Spring Boot with REST API protocols. So as per the requirement, just for the how to implement the services I have given. So if you join for the live sessions, so we will discuss in detail and in depth on the Spring Boot and REST API skills. So we'll put the 100% real-time expert. Okay. If you want to get the good knowledge, so join as the live sessions. So we have the online batches and offline batches. You can join, you can learn Spring Boot. So complete full stack, cloud DevOps, Spring Framework, Microservice, Spring Cloud, Spring Security. So different, all the package. So one time payment, lifetime, it is free. Okay, so this is the story about our Spring Boot plus REST API CRUD operations, the required softwares, how to implement. So if you are not understanding on any issues you are facing, so you can feel free to reach out to us, or you can drop your comments in comment box, or you can write a mail. We have the website link. There is a mail link in our description, in video description. So go through and write a mail, and we'll discuss in detailed manner. So if you want more videos, you can comment. So what are the topics you need? We'll create on this. Okay, thank you for everyone. So watching the video. So thank you.